In the heart of Israel, a decision echoes across the nation, and the world watches a ceasefire in Gaza not an option in the shadow of war. Netanyahu makes a stark choice: war over hostages. In a fiery address, he describes the battle as the war of rebirth, a fight on 7 fronts and one that will demand ultimate sacrifice. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reaffirmed his hardline stance against a ceasefire in Gaza, insisting that the war will not end until Hamas is removed from power in an address released April 19th night. Framed by his office as a special statement on a diplomatic matter, Netanyahu dismissed Hamas's latest conditions for a hostage release deal as capitulation. Conditions in Qatar, at some level, give it. I have ordered the IDF to respond firmly and further increase the pressure on Hamas. We are in a war rebirth, the war on 7 fronts. This war has very heavy prices because any such loss is a world in and of itself. But we, as people who desire life, have no choice but to continue fighting for our very existence until victory. Netanyahu further warned, arguing that any pause in fighting would allow the group to regroup. He rejected the notion that Israel could secure the release of hostages and then later resume its military campaign, citing binding international guarantees that Hamas is reportedly demanding in exchange for a cessation of hostilities by Iran. We are at a crucial stage of the campaign, and at this stage, patience and determination are required to win. If we surrender to Hamas's dictates, now all the tremendous achievements we have achieved thanks to our fighters, thanks to our fallen, thanks to our wounded heroes, all these achievements will simply go down the drain from the very beginning of the war. We have heard call for to end and surrender, and these calls have intensified recently. If I had given in to these calls, we would not have entered Rafah. We would not have occupied the Philadelphia Axis. We would not have carried out Operation Beeper. We would not have eliminated Sinwar, Def Anir, and even as. We would not have created the conditions of fall of the Assad regime and a severe blow to Iran's axis. And we would not have changed the face of the Middle East. We would simply continue to live under existential danger. The Prime Minister also accused Hamas of blocking progress on a recently proposed hostage deal, claiming the group is insisting on an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza and a permanent ceasefire. Such conditions, he argued, would effectively undo Israel's military achievements so far in the war. But this weekend, Hamas again rejected an offer. An offer could lead to the release of half of the living hostages still in Gaza and the return of many dead. Hamas demands an end to the war and the leaving of its rule intact. It also demands a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza and the reconstruction of Gaza, with the introduction of capital that will allow it to rearm and prepare attacks on us again. Ending the war on the surrender terms would send a message to all of Israel's enemies that by kidnapping Israelis, the state of Israel can be brought to its knees. It can be subdued. It is also a deadly message that terrorism pays, which will harm the security of the entire free world. Of course, under these conditions, President Trump's important vision will also not be realized. The vision that will change the face of Gaza once and for all and allow our country to live in security. As pressure mounts internationally for a ceasefire and humanitarian relief, the Israeli leadership remains adamant there will be no end to the war until Hamas is ousted. And Israel's security assured. Israel has reportedly asked the United States to hold off on filing indictments against Palestinian militants involved in the October 7th, 2023 massacre, warning that premature charges from Washington could embarrass the Israeli legal system. The report, carried by Israeli outlet YNIT on April 20th, claimed that U.S. authorities are close to completing their own investigation into the Hamas-led assault. Due to procedural differences, American prosecutors may be able to issue indictments more swiftly than their Israeli counterparts. Prosecutors in Israel have already drawn up charge sheets for 22 militants allegedly involved in the massacre at Kibbutz near us. However, those indictments are expected to be part of a sweeping mega case, potentially targeting hundreds of suspects in what could become the largest trial in Israeli legal history. Despite this, no final decision has been made on whether the case will be split into smaller parallel trials to ease the judicial burden, according to 1 Minute. Israeli authorities have identified around 300 Palestinian detainees believed to have participated in the October 7th atrocities, down from earlier estimates of over 1,000. These include individuals involved in both the assault and the subsequent holding of hostages in Gaza. Officials insist none of these detainees are expected to be released in any future hostage deal. The scale and complexity of the case presents serious legal challenges. A small team of Israeli prosecutors is currently coordinating with Police Unit Lahav 433, the Shin Bet, and IDF military intelligence. Evidence includes testimonies from 1,700 survivors and 400 security personnel. Crucial materials reportedly emerged as Israeli forces advanced into new areas of Gaza, uncovering fresh intelligence in a bid to streamline the judicial process. Prosecutors have asked Attorney General Gali Baha of Mira to advance 9 legislative amendments. These would overhaul parts of Israel's criminal procedure, allowing, for instance, trials to proceed without the defendant's physical presence or even without their legal counsel in certain scenarios. Other proposed changes would enable victim affidavits to replace in-person testimony and relax rules around the disclosure of sensitive investigative material to the defense, especially when classified intelligence is involved. Israel's finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, has publicly called for a full military occupation of the Gaza Strip and the possible establishment of a military administration in the enclave. Speaking at a Mahmoud, a ceremony in native art on April 19th, Smotrich cited Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's vow to continue the war until Hamas is eradicated. Echoing the Prime Minister's message, Smotrich said, "You will prosper and feast." The Prime Minister stated a simple, yet important truth this evening for the Israeli public. The war must not end without the complete defeat of Hamas and its removal from the Gaza Strip. Mr. Prime Minister, your declaration tonight that this war must end in victory carries weight. It demands a change in the method of warfare to pursue a full occupation of the Gaza Strip, not to fear a military government, if necessary, to destroy Hamas and to ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to the state of Israel. This is the path to ensuring security and the quickest way to bring the hostages home. Palestinian militant group Hamas published a new video of Israeli hostage Elkanah by boat on April 19th. The third sign of life of robot in a month amid ongoing fighting in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. The family of 35-year-old Bobert, who was kidnapped by Hamas on October 7th, 2023 from the Nova Music Festival, has permitted the video to be published. The latest video of Bobert shows him appearing more gaunt and with a shaved head, and shows him using a telephone and getting upset as if speaking to his family. Meanwhile, Hamas's armed wing said on April 19th that the fate of Israeli-American hostage Aiden Alexander was unknown after the group found one of the guards assigned to him had been killed. President Donald Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, told reporters at the White House in March that gaining the release of Alexander, believed to be the last living American hostage held by Hamas in Gaza, was a top priority. Alexander, 21, is a New Jersey native and a soldier in the Israeli army. On April 12th, Hamas published a video of Alexander in Gaza. The family issued a statement on the same day saying they do not authorize the broadcasting or distribution of the video, only authorizing the distribution of a screen grab of it. On April 15th, Hamas said it had lost contact with a group of militants holding Alexander in Gaza after the Israeli army attacked the place where the militants were holding him.